This is a production of KMmedia.pro. Welcome back to Positive Talk Radio. Our goal is simple: to explore evolving ideas one conversation at a time. So come on over into our world. I know you'll like it, because on today's show, boy, oh boy, have we got a show for you today. Not only is it springtime here in Seattle as of yesterday or the day before, the day before, and it's beautiful outside. Eric, how are you today?
I'm doing well. Yeah, as you said, beautiful. Lots of sunshine streaming in through our window. So, I'm looking forward to more spring-like weather.
Exactly. If you ever have the opportunity to go to the studio to sit there with Eric and to do the show with me, one of these days I'm going to have to give that away, because it is quite an experience to go do that, and just to watch the mastery of the master of what Eric does. It's just remarkable.
I don't know what to say to that, but thank you. And I'm glad you've had a good time when you've visited the studios, and you've got a nice setup there. So it enables you to talk to so many people, including today's wonderful guest.
Indeed. Well, I just finished a show with a gal that is a mentor for teen girls out of Washington, D.C., and we had a wonderful conversation there. You can go to positivetalkradio.net to find that. And today you've got so many ways to listen to this show. It is extraordinary. Eric, can we run through it just real quick in case somebody's missed it in the past?
You bet, of course. Easiest thing to do is just go to 1150kknw.com. We're streaming the show live, audio and video, so you can do that. Or, of course, if you follow us on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, you can find us, find the show on 1150 KKNW's accounts on any of those. Or if you follow Kevin on Positive Talk Radio's Facebook or YouTube accounts, you can check it out live or later even. You don't have to be here live, but we love it when you are.
Exactly. And between KKNW and positivetalkradio.net, we have quite literally thousands of subscribers.
That's right.
And so there's a great way for you to find us. And today's show, you're going to want to stay with us the entire time. And so I'll introduce Roxanne right now, because we're going to take calls today because of the type of work that she does, which really is outstanding. And she's a wonderful human being, a wonderful soul. Roxanne Chaput is with us. And Roxanne, how are you?
I'm so great. How are you guys?
We are awesome. I'm just so pleased that you and I were able to get together to do this show. And it really is remarkable what you do. You are a globally recognized luminary, inspirer, celestial guide, celestial and generational earth shaman, and the creator of the Illumination Retreat, which is, I'm assuming, is a place where you go to a retreat and get illuminated.
You got it.
and the host, she's a fellow podcaster. She's the host of Soul to Soul with Roxanne. First of all, I got to ask you about your podcast. How's it going? Do you like it?
I love podcasting. I love making connections and just connecting with such beautiful people and listening to their stories, and how those stories can impact other people's lives is just so remarkable.
We all impact each other in a myriad of ways, and you are closer to understanding all that and how it works than most of us, I think.
I think that we all have that knowingness. It's just about uncovering that knowingness to really step into that embodiment. And it's all around us. We are all interconnected. We are all made of love and light. So it's just such a beautiful dynamic.
Now, when you work with somebody, what can you do for them to help them on this journey that can be a little tough through life? But how do you help them understand who they really are?
The important thing is we need to really go to the foundational pieces, the foundational components of someone's journey and the definitions and the labels that they have placed on themselves or had placed on themselves. And it's really about understanding what is their truth, what is their actual belief systems, what do they truly believe about themselves and about the life that they're living and about the life that surrounds them. So it's just about honoring our own truth, about going into those intricate parts, those wounds that may have transpired throughout the words. Sometimes there are words that are said that leave imprints within us, and we carry that for the rest of our lives, and we allow that to define us, and we allow that to prevent us from moving forward and to truly honoring our journey.
Why do you think it is that we do that to ourselves? I mean, this is tough enough without having to listen to what other people have said that are probably not anywhere near as smart as you are as an individual or the person is as an individual, but they take it to heart. I spent years with a 6-year-old who said something to me that stuck with me for years, and that's like, he was a 6-year-old. How could I do that to myself?
Absolutely. And I think that we have been taught since birth to really care about other people's perceptions and perspectives on us and their judgment. So when someone says something, we allow that to be an integral piece of who we are, and we allow ourselves to be hidden from that aspect. Just as an example, when we have a really quirky sense of humor and someone tells us that we're too much, we tend to go and hide and suppress that aspect of ourselves because then we think it's not deemed acceptable into society or into the communities that we live in. We're all looking to fit in. We're all looking to have a sense of community. We are human beings and we love having that interconnection. But what has transpired is that there's an illusion that has happened that we think that that validation needs to come outside of ourselves when it really needs to come from within. It needs to be something that we approve of ourselves within, that we have this knowingness inside of us that we are so much more than a word that has been said or an action that has been done to us. And when we understand that we are all perfection in the divine essence that we are all perfection. Our soul essence is perfection. When we understand that, we realize that we're here to have an experience. And when we allow everything else outside of ourselves to affect our emotional regulation and how we feel about ourselves, we then have given our power away and we disempowered ourselves.
I wanted to mention this just because I've mentioned it before on podcasts, but my mother-in-law, who's since passed, spent her entire life because she was adopted. And she felt like nobody loved her because she was adopted. She was born in 1930. Her mother was a 16-year-old single girl who ended up in one of the homes of where they put pregnant kids back then, and to have the baby, and then the baby was sold out from under her. She never had a chance to know the baby, but my mother-in-law took that with her to her grave, believing her entire life that she wasn't good enough just because she was adopted, because a 16-year-old girl made a decision and had no choice but to give up the baby. That happens to a lot of us, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And the thing is that what ends up happening and what we believe in shamanism, and we can dive a little bit deeper into that as we progress throughout the show. But in shamanism is when things like that happen at a very young age, we call it, what can transpire is called soul loss. And that means that a piece of that soul essence leaves our body in order to protect itself. And it doesn't mean that the entirety of our soul leaves. It's just a part of that soul essence leaves our being because it's there to protect itself. So when we understand that we go through life now based on this worthiness, right? This measurement, this scale that, am I worthy to actually have good love? Why didn't my parent want me? We go through all of these thinking patterns and these belief cycles when in the actual reality is that there is so many things that have transpired because of that one action. The strength, the resiliency, the confidence. There's so many things that have been built, things that she wanted differently from her life, right? So when we look at it from just a different side of the lens, in a different perspective, we can see that everything that happens within our life is a form of blessing. And it doesn't feel like that in that moment. But what we do understand is that every trial and tribulation really leads us to expertise. It leads us to knowledge. It leads us to an experience. And every part of that, we can extract the alchemy of that. We can extract the goodness of that, and we can apply that to our life. That's what allows our life to be able to be shaped in the way that it is. And we can either choose to be stuck in this state of, scarcity, fear, sadness, and victimization, or we can step into our power and own everything that has happened to us and understand that everything has came with a learning and a teaching. We can then become in a place where we become victorious in our journey, opposed to coming from a victimized mentality.
I believe that we are, and tell me if I make any sense at all, because sometimes I don't. But I believe that we are a sum total of our experiences, and every experience that we've ever had in our entire life is designed to be there for our good and for us to move forward to where we, before we even got here, chose this is the path that I want to be on. This is what I want to accomplish. And these experiences are all brought together for us to be able to get all of that done because we've wanted to do that. And that's, am I crazy?
No, this is exactly what we believe in. It's what we call a soul contract. It's a sacred purpose. It's something that we signed up for to experience in this lifetime. And we come to this world and we think it's so cruel, and we can get stuck in the trials and tribulations. But if we all got stuck in the trials and tribulations, which everybody navigates through, everybody goes through storms, everybody is able to witness the rainbows and the butterflies also, we need to have that duality. We need to have the polarity, because that light shapes the dark and the dark shapes the light. So when we understand that and we come from a place of knowingness, of awareness, and to understand that everything that has transpired in your life is there and happening for you. It's not happening to you. And some of my clients will be like, oh, like I lost a loved one, or I lost a career that I really loved. But at the end of the day, in this now moment where you are, you have learned how much about yourself. You have learned so many beautiful things. How many connections came into your life? How can this story impact others? When we open up our perspective, when we open up the way that we perceive things and how we feel things in our heart space, it really becomes a place that this is just an experience. We're here to have an experience. There's no such thing as good or bad. We are here enjoying the life, the journey. We're here to enjoy the pathway. And if we stay in this place of being retreated within ourselves, then we're allowing everything outside of us to control how we truly feel about ourselves. We have been told and we have been taught how to grieve. We have been told and taught how to believe in ourselves. But the actuality of what it is that we weren't taught the proper things in that sense, because we have been taught that everything is outside of ourselves when everything is actually within us.
Ladies and gentlemen, I got to tell you, and if you're listening to the show out there and you're traveling around in rush hour traffic in Seattle, I could keep Roxanne to myself for the entire hour, and I would have a great time just having a conversation between you and her and I and stuff like that. But I sense that there's somebody that would like to ask her a question and would like to maybe get some clarity in what's happening, some dare I say it, some illumination in their life and their life path, and she's just the person to do that. Can we take a call or two, Roxanne?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
All righty then. 425-373-5527 or 888-298-5569. That's 425-373-5527. And if nobody feels called to call, that's fine, because I will enjoy having Roxanne all to myself. It's really good. So let's talk about you a little bit now. When did you get started doing what you're doing? When did you discover that you had these gifts?
Absolutely. I've had this knowingness since I was a little girl. I was always drawn to energy. I was always drawn to people's stories and to really be able to see someone and see everything that has transpired in their life and see their energy grid as where is their misplaced energy. And people have been coming to me for guidance ever since I was a young child. And I remember my mom always being awestricken and being like, oh, like you should be really, think about becoming a psychologist or, a social worker or something of that nature. But that really never resonated to feel true to me. I didn't feel like that was my path. And I went through life. I went through my own trials and tribulations. I went through some near death experiences. And with each near death experience, it was almost like this catalyst moment that was really awakening me to, you're always a positive person. I was very optimistic, but I keep telling myself that I'm happy and that I'm fulfilled and that I love my life. But do I really? And then it really, came into this whole questioning period of really diving into my soul and self mastery journey. Is this really my belief system? Do I believe that this is what I need to do with my life? Do I need to be in this relationship in this now moment? And it was just about really looking at everything from an observer's perspective opposed to being in it. And I really witnessed that I really wasn't fulfilled in the way that I thought and the way that I was expressing that I was.
Everybody, and I didn't know this, that you've had some near death experiences, but everybody that I've talked to, or some stories when they are having their near death experience and they're in the midst of it, and they are on the other side and they're experiencing the pure love that's there versus what's here. They Most of them say, "I don't want to go back. Don't make me go back." Are you Were you, when you were having your experience, did that cross your mind that don't send me back?
No, it's funny because as a shaman, we do death and dying ceremonies. And what that is we go to the afterlife. And with every client, it's like we do a soul contract that they have to come back and complete everything that they signed up for in this lifetime. And it's exactly that. And I put myself through it through our mentors. And it's just such an incredible experience. And it's true. As soon as you pass those veils and you go into the afterlife, it literally is, there's no stress. It's literally just infinite intelligence, infinite unconditional love and support. And all these stresses that we carry on us, it's like this realization that it's almost like a play, like we're playing this part and it really has no significance in terms of our spirituality and our soul essence, but it does in this physical essence and how we are here to have this incredible human experience. So yeah, it's just such a powerful thing. And a lot of the times the clients don't want to come back, right? They're like, it's just so blissful. It's so beautiful. And you have your soul tribe there and you have soul pods there. And, it's everything that we stress ourselves financially, family stress, love stress, none of that exists beyond. And that to us, what we believe in is just an illusion. What we have created within this matrix is that we have to fear everything and that we have to stress about everything because that's what the world feels like, right? We're built on a monetary system. We feel like we have to have certain things in order to feel validated or to feel successful. So, but that's not how it is in the afterlife.
It's interesting that you say that, because I firmly believe everything that you just said. Because when I was years ago, when I was in my early 40s and I was going down the spiritual path, I wanted to discover more about life and why we're really here and why am I really here and what am I here to do and stuff. And a friend of mine said, "I want you to go to a metaphysical bookstore." And you can do this, ladies and gentlemen. Please do this. Go to a metaphysical bookstore. Go to Barnes and Noble, and go to the section on spirituality and stuff, and pick out the first book that speaks to you. That's what he told me. And I said, "Well, what do you mean speaks to me?" And he said, "It will make itself known to you that you need to pick up and buy it." That book was called Journey of Souls by Dr. Michael Newton. And he talks about not only near death experiences and past life regression, he talks about life between lives and our visit to our council members, our visit to our soul pod, our soul our soul mates that are with us, and how it all comes together in a beautiful thing. Now you're nodding your head appropriately, so he wasn't crazy, and neither am I. Is that fair?
None of us are crazy. So what we believe in spirituality, and it's not about, being forceful in the ego, but what our imagination is, what our creative sense is our reality. We are here to create. We are here to imagine. We are here to create our own reality. So that's exactly what happens in the afterlife. The council, everything of what is spoken in that book is exactly what we see when we travel the dimensions. So it's bang on.
So if you want to pick up that book, he's got 3 of them out now. He's passed. I had the opportunity to interview him a long time ago, but Journey of Souls and then also Destiny of Souls. And pick them up. They are a really good read, and they will change your view of life and death. And you don't, at least I don't feel the grief for somebody who's passed on, or that I thought that I would, because I know where they are. I know how happy they are, and that they're looking down on us and they want us to be happy too. Isn't that right, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that you said this because they're at peace. And that is the best way to say it is very peaceful. And for those that are fearful of death, is because we have been taught to be fearful of death. We have been taught that death is such a sad and devastating thing. And to understand that, yes, nobody wants to take their last breath on this earth. Like we all want to be here. We want to see our children grow. We want to be able to be a part of this beautiful creation. However, when our cycle is done, our cycle is done. And that's a very challenging concept. But when we think about what was happening hundreds and thousands of years ago, because shamanism has been around for over 100,000 years, is to understand that these were always celebrations of life. These were not, places of devastation. We went through the grieving processes. However, we were honoring the life that they've lived and being able to remember them and everything that they were opposed to where they are in this now moment. So when we're able to just change again, coming from that mindset and change that perspective of how we view things, it really pivots what reality really is. It really pivots what our truth really is. And it really allows us to look at life as an experience and to take, really the most joy that we can from it, and to just be able to love one another and to be able to come here and to be able to feel all of our incredible emotions. Like it's such a beautiful gift that we have been given. However, we tend to think that it's just such a negative thing and that is such a horrible thing.
I got to ask you, do you ever have a crappy day?
It's very, very rare, but I am human. So yes, I do. But I'm really quick to move through it. And that is the difference, is that we're meant to feel all of our emotions. We have over 27 emotions. We're here to feel our emotions. However, we're not here to stay stagnant within our emotions. We're here to flow through them, be aware of them, be conscious of them, understand where they're coming from, understand the activation, understand the triggering, and then let it flow through and move on to the next emotion. We're not meant to stay in depression. We're not meant to stay in anxiety. We're meant to shift. We're meant to flow. We're here to flow.
Isn't that part of our journey, is the that we get to experience that, but we're not meant to stay in it, and to move through it, and then to take that as a positive experience rather than it be a negative experience?
Absolutely. And when we look at things, if you get triggered or if you're activated with something, or you just feel like it's just a day of sadness and you just want to feel sad for an hour or two, let yourself feel sad. Allow your tears to come out, because when we suppress those emotions, there's no really such thing as suppression. What ends up happening is that we transmute that emotion into something different, more aggressive, like anger, frustration, depression, anxiety. So when we come in this place of our emotional body, it's being and allowing ourselves to be. We're human beings, right? We're not human doings. We're human beings, and we're here to be. We're here to experience, and we're here to go through our emotions. It's just to be able to have that awareness. I'm feeling sad. Okay, I've been sad for 2 days. What is really going on? And digging a little bit deeper. Why do I really feel this way? And we have to be able to shift ourselves from that perspective. And that is the art of our soul and self-mastery journey. It's a continual practice. It's never over. And it's about understanding that those emotions that we keep within us and that we allow to stay stuck within our being also cause havoc, and they cause disruptions within our being. A lot of us carry our emotions in our physical being. A lot of us have body aches, have body pains, have illnesses, because we contain and we hold all of our emotions within our being.
Now, are you able to work with people who are in that way and they've got energetic blockages and that sort of thing, that you can help them get through it, so that maybe they can get the energy moving again, and that can help their energetic body and thus help their physical body?
Yeah, absolutely. And that is where a lot of the shamanism comes in, is that we are there to literally extract that misplaced energy. So we see what's happening in the energy field, in the auric field, and we can see where there's misplaced energy. Sometimes it's in our main chakra systems, sometimes it's in our meridians, sometimes it's outside of us, sometimes it's in our auric field. So it's really about being able to extract that energy. And sometimes we have to do soul retrieval. Sometimes we have to bring soul essence back into the body, because so much soul essence has left the being. So it really just depends on the person. But every illness is something that is happening at a complex level, at the cellular level, not the cellular, at the cellular energetic level, because our energy and our energetics is the biggest disposition within us. We are made of energy. This is proven, scientifically, and religious structures also. We are made of energy. We are soul essence, and we do have a soul.
Very good. Now, Debbie Olson, she wants to mention the name of the book again. I think, Debbie, that you were thinking about the podcast, or have you written a book as well? Roxanne, you're a busy woman.
No, I haven't written a book yet. Maybe she was talking about the book in the metaphysical store, Kevin.
I hadn't thought of that. That would be Journey of Souls by Dr. Michael Newton. And you can also go online to the Newton Institute. There are literally thousands of hypnotherapists now that have gone through his process and understand his process. And it's a 4 or 5 hour journey, similar to what Roxanne does with her shamanism, and to take people to the other side on a kind of a guided tour of what's happening over there. It really is pretty impressive. And don't you find, Roxanne, that you've done a lot of these, and that they're all very similar, that they're, regardless of that person's religious belief or non-religious or political beliefs or sex or whatever it is, that they're all very similar?
Absolutely. And I really want to preface that shamanism isn't religion. It's about connection to our own spirit, connection to our own knowingness of what we believe for ourselves. And the first thing that I've ever been taught by our elders and our mentors is that in shamanism, it's not what I say is gold. It's what do you feel? What do you feel resonates with you? What is your truth? And that is the most crucial piece. Religious structures, political structures, those are all part of the linear. Those are all part of the 3D concepts to be here on this planetary system, but they don't exist in the cellular complex. They don't exist in the afterlife. Everything there is perfection and equality and divination. It doesn't have segregation and divisiveness. It's all about the same thing. We are all equal. We are all interconnected. We are all made of love and light.
And we are talking with Roxanne Chaput. She is a shaman. She is, and you can, when we come back from this break, we are going to talk about how you can reach her. And by the way, I'm going to put out the phone number real quick, 425-373-5527. That's 425-373-5527. If you'd like to talk to her personally, you can do that when we come back from this break. Call Eric now, and he'll get you lined up. 425-373-5527. Again, Roxanne, you are incredible. Will you come back and see me again?
You know I will, Kevin.
You are just, I tell you, you make my heart sing. You really do. And when we come, so we'll be back in just a couple of moments. Eric, thank you. Take it away. Hey there. I'm excited that you're listening right now, and if you like what we're doing here, you're going to love positivetalkradio.net. On positivetalkradio.net, each show, which is recorded live, is packed with positive information, with real people discussing real issues and positive solutions that can work for everyone. I hope that you'll join us on positivetalkradio.net and listen to all 340 plus shows. I think it's worth your time. But then, that's just me. That's positivetalkradio.net, your home for great progressive, positive podcasts.
When you want to say more than words communicate, you can with flowers. Your custom boutique floral studio in Bothell, Washington is anaturaldesign.com, connecting you to nature through the language of flowers. Where your people are is where our flowers are beautiful. Your success is our goal. anaturaldesign.com at your fingertips today.
Hey, my friend. I'd really like to thank you for listening to the show today. As you may know, I started Positive Talk Radio way back in 2003. We were one of the first shows on KKNW. For 11 months, I was fortunate to be part of many lives, making a positive difference with great interviews and discussions, creating new thoughts and ideas. Sadly, for financial reasons, I had to terminate the show. Well, it took 18 years, but we're back better than ever. And not only on KKNW Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, but also podcasting with several inspiring channels with the same driving passion as the original. Please visit kmmedia.pro for complete information about all of these shows. In addition, if you feel called to keep positive programming on the air, you can join us by sponsoring the show and aligning yourself with our mission, which is nothing short of saving the planet and each other. Again, that's kmmedia.pro. I'll see you there. And welcome everybody back to Positive Talk Radio on KKNW 1150 AM. My name is Kevin McDonald, and I have a beautiful soul with me today. Her name is Roxanne, and you can go to her website, which is roxannechaput.com, and it's CHAPUT.com, and Roxanne is like Steve Martin in that movie, and you can talk to her, and you can also go to her podcast, which now you do your podcast once a week, and then it goes on all the major podcast folks like Spotify and Pandora and all those guys, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. You got it, Kevin.
And the name of your podcast again is
Soul to Soul with Roxanne.
It's just wonderful what you talk about, because I don't know if everybody takes it the way that I do, which is it is very, very positive. It's very enlightening, and it makes me feel like our existence is not here in vain, that it's actually designed to do something positive for ourselves and for the world. And is that right? Or am I being too Pollyanna-ish?
No, you are exactly right. We are all here with a sacred purpose. We are all given a sacred purpose to fulfill in this lifetime. It's our choice, having the power of choice, having the sovereignty over our being, if we decide to step into that embodiment. We were not created by mistake. We are all created by design. So it's really about understanding that and acknowledging that within us.
Well, I think people are scared that because if to call, because you could, they could leave like they're in their underwear because you're so good at what you do. But so I will be the guinea pig. I got a question for you.
Yes, let's do it.
Am I doing the right thing? Is this what I should be doing with my life? And is this the design that I set up for myself before I even got here?
Yes, absolutely. Kevin, before I answer the purpose part, the sacred purpose part, what do you actually feel?
I feel that this is absolutely my purpose. This is
Exactly.
because the fun thing is I can do a show like this. Well, let me give you an example. This is the third show I've done in a row in the last 3 hours, and I'm more energetic at the end of talking with you and the other guests that I've had. This is what creates my existence, and it's really nothing short of that. It really is quite bizarre.
So that knowingness that you feel is unshakable, is undeniable. And when we have our sacred purpose, that is the exact feeling that emanates throughout the entirety of who we are. So if you don't feel like you are in alignment, you don't feel like that's your sacred purpose, then you already know. And it's about following your guidance, following your intuition, your instinctual senses. Your soul is always leading you. So it's about trusting where you're being led. And you already have that knowingness. It's like when we find that perfect mate for this lifetime, it's a knowingness. There's no reasoning, there's no words of expression. It's just a profound knowingness that happens within the entirety of who we are.
I got to ask you about that part, because I, in my own way, in my own feeling, I've had lots of girlfriends when I was younger. I was married for 24 years, and then we got divorced, and I determined for myself that I no longer needed to go down that road of a relationship that wasn't going to serve me. And so I resolved not to do that again unless somebody, by the way, my number is, no, I'm kidding.
Leaving it all out for the listeners.
Exactly. If, unless my heart really spoke to me and I could prove that it was exactly what my soul was looking for. Is that a, because I know a lot of people are like, I need a relationship because I don't want to be alone and da 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 da. I don't feel that way. Am I nuts?
No, I think that is such a beautiful place to be in because you're in a place of enlightenment where you're not looking for someone supplementary, you're looking for someone that is complementary to your life. And we have all been taught to believe that we need someone outside of ourselves in order to fulfill us, when the actuality is that we fulfill ourselves, and whoever comes into our life is fulfilled, and that creates a beautiful love dynamic. That is two enlightened people, two people that are there for the right reasons. They're not there for financial gain. They're not there just to have someone so that they don't have moments of loneliness. They're there in partnership because they're both looking to support one another, to help guide one another, to help elevate one another when the time is needed, and that their dreams and their visions are aligned and that they're working towards the same things. That is what a beautiful love dynamic is. And we have been taught to be addicted to love. We have been taught to step into unhealthy relationship after unhealthy relationship because, one, we have all lost our self-worth at some point in our life. And we feel that we need someone outside of ourselves to validate that we are worthy of love, that we are worthy of something beautiful, when that's not the actual reality. The reality is that we need to actually feel that love for ourselves. And when we come from a place where we love ourselves unconditionally with what we consider, strengths and weaknesses, when we can love ourselves through the entirety of our light and our dark and our shadow, it comes from a place of unconditional love, not based on condition, not based upon you need to do this in order for me to love you. I just love you for exactly the way that you are. And when you can love yourself in that way and show up for yourself in that way, imagine the relationship dynamics that you will have after that point forward. It becomes a place where you're just there to share the partnership, to share the love, because you both love one another and you love yourselves equally.
And sometimes that can happen, and sometimes that doesn't happen. And if it doesn't happen, don't settle for somebody that is a different guy in the same suit that you've had problems with before. You want to put yourself into a different place because that's what your soul wants for you. Is that right?
Absolutely. Your soul, everything around you, even the universe creator, everything that is created around us only wants you to be successful, only wants the best things for you. However, at the end of the day, you have a choice. You have a choice to break that cycle and that patterning. You have a choice and you have boundaries that you can create for yourself. If you are in the same relationship over and over and over again, which I was very guilty of, so I can speak very firmly to this. And this is why I took the Enlightened Love relationship coaching, was because I really wanted to understand what is really a healthy love, what is a healthy relationship dynamic. And when you come from this place where you're really choosing the same person and over and over and over again, the reality is it's something within you. It's not to do with the mates that you're choosing at that point anymore. It's something to do with you that you keep being drawn to and attracting that same person into your life. There's something that is telling you there's lessons there that you need to still learn in order for you to break that cycle until you decide that you don't want to go through it anymore. Like just what you did, Kevin.
Yeah, it's kind of like there's no point to doing this again. I want. By the way, we're talking with Roxanne Chaput, and you can go to her website, which again is roxannechaput.com. And one of the things that I wanted to ask you about, because I may have to go do this, you have something called the Illumination Retreat. What is that?
That is something that is so dear to me. This is part of my sacred purpose is I have created an incredible retreat where we are literally going at every intrinsic layer of our multidimensionality. We are hitting our physical being, our emotional being, our intellectual, our mental, and we're doing this brain and mind connection to understand that a lot of us are wired to function in the left side of our brain, when in the actuality, we need to be functioning in the right side of our brain, of our creative state, of our flow state, in order for us to be in reciprocity for everything that we're receiving. This retreat is all about illuminating our own soul's luxurious, about illuminating that light within us, understanding that we are coming back to love for ourselves, connection to ourselves, and to understand that everything that happens within our being is happening because our being is not in alignment. We're having, our mental body is fighting against our emotional body and our heart space and our spiritual essence, and it's not working in a cohesive manner. It's working against one another. And this retreat is to bring everything into harmony, into alignment. And the co-leaders that are joining us are experts in their field. This is going to be such a transformative experience. Like your life will never be the same after this retreat. This retreat will be absolutely powerful.
When is it, by the way?
We're hosting it this year from November 4th to November 11th, 2023 in Marche, Italy.
Oh, you get to go to Italy too.
With an executive chef. So we're going to be well taken care of. The retreat space is absolutely gorgeous. The land carries so much healing power. It's just a very beautiful space. So we're
Oh,
super excited.
it's a beautiful retreat. That's
Mm.
so if you want to find if somebody wants to find out more about how they can go to this retreat, how do they contact you?
Yeah, they can just check it out at theilluminationretreat.com, and all the information is there. See what we're doing, see how the transformations will occur. And yeah, it's just remarkable. And we really hope to see you in Italy. It'll be an experience like no other. This is not like any other retreat. This is bringing in our own internal medicines, our own gifts and abilities on top of our expertise. So it's going to be absolutely life-changing.
What's it like for you when you go on one of these retreats? Not when you go on it, but to watch the way people change over the course of a 6-day period. It must be really gratifying to watch people come in maybe a little apprehensive, maybe a little defensive, and not really. And by the time the retreat is over, they've made friends for life. They've made a difference in their own lives. They're changing what they're going to do. That must be really powerful for you.
There is nothing like it. There's nothing like being able to help someone and guide someone to see something from a different perspective so that they can actually feel in harmony with themselves and to feel unconditional love and a sense of unwavering inner peace within themselves. There is nothing more beautiful to see someone step into their own consciousness, their own connection to spirit. As we are on this incredible shift throughout the world, we are seeing it, throughout, that spirituality is becoming really more prevalent. It's understanding that our energy is the biggest entity within us. And when we understand that that connection to self is what really allows us to magnetize everything in our life and to create everything in our life. When we come to that place of knowingness, understanding, it is just such a powerful thing to witness. And I love just witnessing and observing the transformations happen, even with my clients on one-on-one. It is just such a beautiful journey of aha moments and of just that integration piece to really step into themselves.
I'm going to step back here because earlier in the show you made a comment that I didn't want to gloss over because I think this is foundational. And that I had a friend, he's from Boston, and we were talking about the be, do, have paradigm. Are you familiar with that?
No.
It's Neil Donald Walsh. He wrote it, but you said it, which is we're human beings, not human doings. And he was like, "No, you got to do stuff. You got to go do stuff if you want to do anything. If you want to be successful, you got to go do some stuff. You can't just be. What is this be stuff? And you can't do that. You got to go do stuff." And I'm being there's a bad characterization of him, but it was true. And but then I said, Mark, you can't be a happy doing. You can't do happy. You can't do loving. You can only be happy. You can only be loving, and you can only be caring. So you have to be it before you can do it. Am I right?
I think that's just such a beautiful way to say it. And what I really want to preface is that it doesn't mean that we don't take action in our life, soft action. What that means, the doing is forceful action, action that doesn't feel in alignment with us, that we just do for the sake of doing because we were taught to do that and it was said that we needed to do that. That is what that forceful action of doing is. And when we understand the laws of reciprocity, when we understand the laws of vibration, of our duality, of our gender, it's really to understand that we need to be calibrated between our feminine and our masculine energy. We need to be able in a state of structure of action, and we need to be able to go into our flow, into our creativity. You can't consistently drive a vehicle and keep it in drive and expect the battery not to burn out or to run out of gas. That's the same thing that happens with our incredible vessel. We have to put ourselves in park. We have to just be, and not just be for the sake of being, but being to actually be present within the moment, to actually enjoy the scenery, enjoy the journey. We're always focused on the next milestone, on the next destination, in hopes that this is going to fulfill us in order for us to actually feel happiness, when in reality, the happiness and the fulfillment is throughout the entirety of that journey. So we need to do some driving, we need to do some parking, and we need to be able to shift between these gears and not just stay in one or the other.
Ladies and gentlemen, I got to tell you that I just threw that question at her and she had no earthly idea it was coming. And such a beautiful answer. That really was profound. And
Thank you.
I really want to thank you for coming and visiting us. And I hope everybody has enjoyed this episode as much as I have. It's gone flying by. Do you notice how fast time goes?
It goes so fast when you're having fun.
Exactly. And we've got a little bit of time left, but I want to leave there plenty of time for. And so, by the way, well, no, never mind. I want to give you an opportunity to tell our audience anything that you would like them to know that about your work, about you, about what's going on with them, even what's going on with our planet. What can we do to make a positive difference moving forward? Anything that you feel called to say, I want to give you as much time as you need.
Thank you, Kevin. I think that I would really love to start off with the way that we are seeing the world today, and just a beautiful reminder that the more that we pour our energy into something, the more that we receive of that exact thing that we're pouring into. So just to be very mindful that even though it may seem like there's chaos, doesn't mean that you have to be in the same vibrational alignment or frequency as the chaos. We can be there and we can be observing, we can be the seers, we can be able to just be the witnesses of what's transpiring. All that is happening throughout the world is not your journey to own. We don't own results. We don't own how we are going to shift the dynamic. All we can do is do our own part, our own innate part. Not one person can change the world. And it's to understand that as a collective, that's how we shift things. As co-creators, co-collaboration, that is how we shift the dynamic and the trajectory of where the world is going. So if you're stuck in this loophole or divisiveness or hatred or anything of that nature, you already know that it's not serving you. So how do we step out of that to really come into our own knowingness? And it's about trusting yourself and where you're being guided, believing in yourself because you already have the answers within you. You already are the perfection that you are seeking. You already are the happiness that you are seeking. You are the love that you are seeking. And when you believe in yourself and when you come to that knowingness, nothing can shake that. Nothing can take your power away because your power is only for you to hold.
That is amazing. That is amazing. And I want to, and thank you for that. That, because, do you, now let me ask you a question. Do you believe that we are in a position that we as a collective and can raise the vibration of the planet, and that in and of itself can initiate change?
I think that vibration is it's an unmeasurable thing in how we radiate vibration. However, we can change the outcome of the situations. We have voices, we have the power of advocacy, we have the power of choice. So when we understand that and we come together as a collective, when we understand that what hurts you hurts me, even though it may not be imminent in this moment, it still hurts the actual aspect of what's happening in the world. But we can't take ownership of everybody else's journey because that was just, it's exhausting. So when we think about it from that perspective, it's just the more that we raise our consciousness as the collective, well, when we become conscious, we realize that everything else is more of that linear, more of that illusionary base that really isn't true constructs. They're false constructs, right? There's no such thing as racism or anything of that nature, or politics or religion. When we come into our spirituality, there's none of that. We are all equal. We are all the same. So when we come into our consciousness, there is no room for the latter. You can't have hate when you have love. But it's also important that we have duality in our life because we need that to shape one another. We need there to be a balance. So, we're not going to have 100% of the earth plane come into their consciousness, but we're going to have a vast amount come into their consciousness. So it's not about taking away something. It's just about harmonizing it because right now it's out of harmony.
One of the things that I learned early on in my search, which was, and it was a statement that I think is so true, and I use it today, and that is, and you already said it, you just didn't say it in these words, which is, we are all one.
We are all one.
And that we come from the same place. We're going back to the same place. We get to experience life while we're here. I think it's a grand design. It's a grand play. It's like we're playing a part in a movie. It's just, it can be a whole lot of fun.
So play your role the best you can, get the most out of it that you can and enjoy the heck out of it, regardless of what comes your way. And trust me, I've been through a lot of loss. I've been through a lot of my own trials and tribulations. But if I stay in that frame of mind, then I wouldn't have allowed the things that have transpired in my life to shape me to what I am today. And this is what can happen when we use that, and we use that to alchemize how we show up for ourselves and how we show up for our family and how we show up for the world. And it doesn't mean that we have to all be doing things at a global level. Maybe it's you creating your art. Maybe it's you creating music. Maybe it's creating podcasts. Everybody has their own sacred purpose that feels in alignment with them. And no one purpose is the same, just like no one fingerprint is the same. We are all uniquely different, and we are all in need of those gifts and abilities that we have within each other.
I have proved that conclusively because I used to drive a bus for a living, and I could drive a 60-foot bus, and I could quite literally change the mental outlook of everybody on that bus by my attitude and
Yep.
by the energy that I brought to it. If I brought a negative energy, and there's lots of negative bus drivers out there, if you bring a negative energy to it, then that's what you get. If you bring a positive one, that's what you get. And it was a wonderful experience for me to play with. By the way, we've been talking with Roxanne Chaput, and if you're going to cut, you will come back. I'm going to drag you here.
You can drag me. I'll willingly come.
'Cause you are remarkable, and by the way, she's gone through, and I know this, she's gone through a bad country music song period, just like I have. But she came out the other side, and she's a phenomenal individual, and is doing phenomenal work. And so the Illumination retreat in Italy in November. Go look that up on her website. I think that's worth the price of admission, I think.
It absolutely is.
So thank you so much for being here. Well, actually, we've got about a minute left. So anything else you'd like to add in about 40 seconds?
You know what? I think that I just want to thank you so much, Kevin. And I want to really speak to the testament of what you're doing and your mission that you're carrying forward. And I just want to say that I honor you and I see the light in you. And I'm just so appreciative of everything that you're doing. And just keep doing what you're doing, because it's just such a beautiful thing that you're offering to others. And it's just such an honor to be here.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And you have no idea. You have no idea, because this is everything for me. If you know me personally, that it just is. So thank you so much for being here. And by the way, we got to go, but be kind to one another, because each other's all we've got. We'll see you Friday at noon.